All right. Anyway, just a reminder, the world is a crazy place and it is not our home. So let us just keep reminding ourselves and see the environment is favorable for us to appreciate it's not our home. All right. So we're here together. Let us give obeisances and let us begin. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So if this world is not our home, then where is our home? Okay, good question. So we've got we actually still have a week. No, we don't. No, but we still have one more gathering before the parikramas begin. The parikramas, the 22nd is the Adivas day, the 23rd is the beginning. I'm talking about Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā here. And I was reflecting just yesterday, because I was asked to do something, and I was reflecting that since probably 1987, we have sent out invitations for Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. I mean, myself sent out invitations from Navadvīp, means on the typewriter for the first years, and then still having to make the invitation, take it to the printer for the next years, take it to the printer, have them print it up, and then we have to get the envelopes, type all the addresses, type the addresses on the envelopes one by one by one, put in the invitation, get the postage stamps, stick on the stamps, then go from Navadvīp to Calcutta to the main post office to post them from there and watch them cancel every stamp so they don't steal the stamps. And this way, we do this year by year for Gaurapanima as to send out the invitations. So we do this, actually Gaurapanima, but also Kartik and also yes, Vyasa Puja. Okay, sorry. So Vyasa Puja and Kartik and Gaurapanima. This would be our, one of our duties would be to do that. And then we got the internet age, then we're doing the invitations by internet. But one way or another, since basically 1987, every year we've been sending out invitations for Gaurapanima and the Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. And this year, we are all in different places in the world, and it is not practical to come to India. It's not practical to come to Navadvīp, to come to the holy places there. It's practical means we can't, unless you jump out of an airplane with a parachute, but you'd probably be quite noticeable and the authorities would pick you up quite soon. So anyway, we can't go there at the moment. And so really, we still need to be in the mood of inviting everyone for parikrama. But as we found out at Kartik time, and we repeatedly seeing, we have to go the extra step to go from the physical to the actually substantial in our attitude to the Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. And you see, even last year, we were in India. Last year, still, we are there for the parikramas. And as it turned out, Krishna arranged that this whole lockdown happened in India and probably the world, but India is where we were and now that was our world. He arranged that this lockdown happened as everything had been completed for Govardhan Parikrama, Vrindavan Parikrama, then Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, then Eka Chakra, then to Puri. And in Puri, after we'd done the main parikrama and where we hadn't quite finished everything, but we'd done the main parikramas and there was just a couple of days left, then everything suddenly shut down overnight, including the Jagannath temple. So last year we were in India during this time, even not these dates, because Gaurapanima was earlier. This last year we had the extra month of Purushottam, which is made this year a little bit later. So we weren't there on the calendar dates, but we were there for the dates of the Gaurapanima. Anyway, taking a bit of a long time to mention that really every year till now, it's been possible to go to Navadvīp. There's been the invitation, come and participate. But this year we cannot participate physically. But around the world, in different places, the devotees are arranging for online parikrama, means going place by place and with some consciousness of the places and what they stand for, etc. And Srila Janardhan Maharaj, he called me the other day and we're discussing about it because he's a very enthusiastic parikrami, or whatever the correct word is. You know, he comes year by year, even when his health is not so good and he's coughing and doing all sorts of things. But he's coming to Navadvīp for the parikrama. And then he mentioned that also there for America, because the timing is a little different because you're on the edge of the world, for North and South America, then Janardhan Maharaj and Ashram Maharaj and Puri Maharaj, who was formerly from Ecuador, Rajaram Prabhu. He was formerly Rajaram Prabhu from Ecuador. They're going to do in Spanish and English. They're going to do some similar parikrama. And devotees everywhere, they're taking out all those photographs they've taken in previous years. And when they can't come to India, like myself, we are begging photos, because I don't take many photos myself. And we are begging some photos. So let's remind ourselves of where we were. And so the online parikrama is going to take place also from the Sokel ashram and the Mexican ashrams, and also from Thailand, also from India. And this way, the world devotees are still coming together and still making the pilgrimage. So anyhow, I was thinking just this week that where is home really is, you can say, where is the heart is, that is home. And the heart is there with our gurus, there in the pastimes of our spiritual masters. And certainly for many of us, we feel that Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, that Navadvīp, the mat, whatever its situation is today, that is the home of our heart, the mat of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj, as we know Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, which is its actual identity. So we've been, as you have been doing, I hope, we've been reading Navadvīp Dhām Mahatmya day by day. And although we started reading, it seems like quite a while ago, we are still going through the first going through of Navadvīp Dhām Mahatmya this time. And we thought, oh, we're starting early, but we are stopping and reading and stopping and talking amongst ourselves, because here all of us have been on Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. So this year we are already in the mood of parikrama. And as we probably pointed out last week, that we would normally, and we were scheduled to be in India right now for the parikramas. We would be now in Vrindavan, in fact, doing parikrama of Vrindavan. We've gone from Govardhan, then Govardhan parikrama, then to Terkandi, the dear place of Guru Maharaj, dearmost place of Guru Maharaj, the place of Rupa Goswami, called also Kadambakandi, and Uchagaon, the place of Lalita, which is near Varshana, very near Varshana. You can see the two from each other, only because there's a temple there now. There's a temple on the hill of Varshana, there's a temple on the hill of Uchagaon. So you can see the two temples from each other. We'd have been there and then gone to Vrindavan. And then from Vrindavan, we do the parikramas there. Hare Krishna. And then by train for most people, by train to Kolkata, Howrah railway station, the busiest railway station in the world, and then to Navadvīp. And also talking about Janardhan Maharaj, as Janardhan Maharaj found out when he could not buy the ticket to Navadvīp, Navadvīp is called Navadvīp and not Navadvīp, in case you see it written that way. Nobody knows where is Navadvīp, but everybody knows where is Navadvīp. All right, so then the challenge comes, how do we enter the Dhām proper? Enter the Dhām with our heart, with ourselves proper. That is by coming to the Dhām in association with the devotees, under the shelter of the devotees, in the serving mood. Everywhere, service, service, service. Pilgrimage needs to be in service mood. Pilgrimage is there for the satisfaction of Guru and Gauranga, but Guru and Vaishnavas are close to us. And in this way, we may enter. So, what do you want me to say? On the theme, any question? On the theme, something you can say.
When was the first time you went on the Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā?
The actual Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, 1983. I went to Navadvīp just after Gaurapanima of 1982. So 83 was actually the first Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā that I went on. Now ask me, when was the last time you did the full Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā? You can ask me that. And that was probably I can't exactly say, but probably 1987. Actual, with my feet, the full Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā was probably 1987. Because
I thought it was 2013 or 2012.
That I did the full parikrama. No, not by foot. Maybe I have been, I don't think really that I did every place every day in 2012 or 2013. Oh, so okay, 2013, certainly not. That's the year that I received sannyas, that I was put in a corner by all of our senior sannyasis and guru section and put in a corner. And certainly I did not do that year because I wasn't even going to Navadvīp that year. I went to the station in Delhi to see off the devotees after the Vrindavan Parikrama. And then one of our forceful dear friends said, look, here's a ticket, you've got to get on the train. So without even a toothbrush, I got on the train and went to Navadvīp. Seeing it was Krishna's arrangement. So, and that happened, so I didn't go on the parikrama. The point being, and why didn't I go on parikrama? We were there for many years. I mean, from all those years we were there for Navadvīp, for Gaurapanima. And why not? Because we were arranging everything for the devotees. And then we're making arrangements, we're doing all the planning, this, and would go on parts of the parikrama. so that we go and then come back, or I go and join it and do part and then come back. But we were looking after base camp, which was Navadvīp. And then we'd take the prasadam, so I know where the devotees had lunch, where they had breakfast, because we'd take the prasadam to where the devotees were, and breakfast prasad, lunch, and lunch prasad, mainly, not everyday lunch prasadam, because some days the devotees come back to the temple. But we'd make arrangements and then send the devotees out. So that's how I didn't do the whole parikrama. And Goswami Maharaj was saying that I should take us place to place, and then basically he'll talk and others will talk at the places as we do. And I said, well, Maharaj, I don't think I'm the best person to take everyone from place to place also. So this is where, we're contacting to Ashram Maharaj and to Janardhan Maharaj, and they say, well, it's the wrong time on this side of the world, but we're going to do our own parikrama. But I have Janardhan Maharaj's virtual parikrama. He did 1 year when he was actually not able to go for health reasons. And I do have that parikrama, so that'll also help remind me. So the first time, to answer your question, was 1983, and the last time fully was probably 1987. So all of you, or well, those of you who've been, have probably done full Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā much more recently than myself, though we've been to practically everywhere. Yes, we've been everywhere, again and again. And how it has changed, that may be a question for myself also, from 1983 to the present time. Changed in quantity, for sure. Not only our mat, grown and grown and grown, but actually the Gaudiya mats, all related to the worship of Mahaprabhu. All of the temples of Navadvīp, of Mayapur, of the different purs, the different sections of the different deeps, the different islands of Navadvīp, all of the temples on all these islands, they've all grown. They've all got bigger congregations, pilgrimages, etc. And has now become very sizable. I mean, so sizable that really it has to be coordinated between the temples where they go each day of the parikramas. So it's staggered also in when they begin and where everybody goes. It has to be coordinated, and it's coordinated centrally. The representatives of each temple actually meet up in the Navadvīp police station, and in coordination with the police, how it will be arranged. This is how big it has become. And we can think that Srila Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and of course, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, that they must all be pleased that from all over the world and all over India, which is also a world in itself, but all over the world and all over India, the devotees come congregate into Navadvīp and go on Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. This was foreseen by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That it will not be long before the Westerners come and join with the local devotees chanting and dancing in the streets of Navadvīp. And Gurudev told about the influx of the Westerners, or how the Westerners have become attracted to Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan and the chanting, etc. Gurudev said, I'd read this by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his prediction, but he said it from his heart. He said, I know it must be true, but I never thought I would see it in my lifetime. This is what Gurudev said. That was his kind of reaction for when he read this. And oh yes, it must come to be, but it'll be in the future, not thinking he would see in his lifetime. And so we can say directly, we saw Gurudev's happiness that Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā has become, sizable and big kirtan, big Hari Nam Sankirtan, the very thing we're meant to be doing, taking place all over Navadvīp at the same time. One group is in Mayapur, somebody else, another temple's group is in Godrumadeep, another temple group is in Kolardeep, etc., etc. And anyone who's been there, they know, especially with the invention of electricity and loudspeakers, they know that some of these Sankirtans can be very loud. They were very loud in Mahaprabhu's time. We read those descriptions of how the Kirtan, the Sankirtan, went to the extremities of the universe and shook the whole universe like this. These descriptions in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's before loudspeakers. So now what will be the description of the Sankirtan? Hare Krishna. And after Mahaprabhu, Navadvīp was all washed away by the Ganges. And again now is being revealed. Revealed. Anyway, something can't be just veiled, can it? It's always going to be revealed. But anyway, it's coming up again. Hare Krishna. When is the first time you did Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, Praneshwari?
I didn't, Maharaj.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't.
Okay.
I never went in God Purnima.
Okay, what about Rupa Vilas Prabhu? Rupa Vilas, were you on Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā at any time? You need to unmute your microphone. Click.
No, Maharaj. I tried to enlist myself by praying to the Lord, but I'm still here waiting on the waiting room. Maybe it's, if that is not possible on this lifetime, maybe on the next lifetime. But I'm still hoping against hope, Otherwise, what is the use of the word hope when there's no hope? And by your presence, I'm being encouraged to still hope.
Well, we're all on an equal footing. This year, let us all join by our heart and together through the internet, through this medium. And in case you haven't seen, but I know that you're quite alert to the invitations, but it's already advertised from Gupta Govardhan, means the Thailand temple for this parikrama, arranged from Thailand. It's the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 4 days, 7:30 p.m. Thailand time. And the invitation, the link is there. No doubt they probably got Facebook, but I see it on Instagram because they broadcast every day on Instagram. And so Sri Gupta Govardhan is the Instagram link.
Maharaj,
So,
Rupa Vilas is very active. He is the one who spread the news as soon as they posted. Rupa Vilas sent it on Facebook.
Okay, Rupa Vilas, very good. I'm not active on Facebook. I post things, but others made the site, and I know that sometimes people write there. If any of you write me on Facebook, excuse if I don't reply. I actually, sometimes they're brought to my notice. Sometimes not. Yes, Rupa Vilas Prabhu.
Maharaj, in the chat, you have the address of a new temple that we have, a new Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, but I don't know where is it. Nrsimhapali, Subarna Behar. How far is from our main temple?
How to find it from our main temple?
I mean, how far is it from Colorgan?
Okay, well, this is on the regular, I mean, the annual regular parikrama that takes place. This is the second to the last day, and it is on the edge of Navadwīp Dhām, it's told, like it's on the border, it's within Navadvīp. And, but how to get there, nowadays there is a road, and probably you've all seen pictures when you, even if you've not been there, there's a bridge that crosses the Ganges quite close to our temple. It's a big bridge. It's called Gauranga Setu, Gauranga's bridge, believe it or not, and built by the Russians. So the Russians have been saying Gauranga's name. They're building Gauranga bridge. So anyway, they made Gauranga Setu for their own purpose. At that time, and for a long time, Bengal was communist. So they had a particular relationship with Russia, and this way, anyhow, they made a bridge. So you cross that bridge, and then now you're going to ask me in kilometers how far it is. I would say it is 7.4 kilometers, but I could be wrong. But it's that kind of a distance. It's a decent walk. It's a decent walk, but it's straight along the road. And there are two ways by car to go to Calcutta. Well, obviously there are more than two ways, but there are two principal ways to go to Calcutta by car. And the main way, after they made the bridge, of course, before the bridge was there, it wasn't practical, but the main way is to cross the bridge, go through Nrsimhapalli, and then continue the journey. Then you join to the highway. It's still a country road. And then you join to the highway, which it's not a highway by any American standard. It's a road as, again, why are we thinking of Janardamar so much today? It's a road that when I drove Janardamar once to Calcutta, he said, this road, these holes should be given names, like they give names to hurricanes and typhoons. He said, because the holes are like so big in the road, right? You drive in and then drive out. It was a pretty bad road for a long time. It's got better recently, the highway. Anyway, so it's on the village road that leads to the highway. And the first time that I went there, by the way, in 1983, that was a dirt road. It was not whatever you call black top road or something. It was a dirt road going to Nrsimhapalli. But after they made the bridge, which was completed in probably 1986, probably. After they made the bridge, then they made the road with, they didn't make it nicely, but they made it with black surface. So Nrsimhapalli is there. It's the place of Nrsimhadev, and it's very special place, holy place, and it has the very ancient deity. Of course, not our temple, but our temple is just nearby it, and I mean very nearby. The temple which houses Nrsimhadev, and this Nrsimhadev deity is from Satya Yuga, and this is confirmed by Guru Maharaj. They're from Satya Yuga. Then you can consider this is very ancient deity. Even amongst ancient deities, this is an ancient deity. And it's Nrsimhadev, and right beside him Prahlad Maharaj, and on Nrsimhadev's lap is Hiranyakashipu. It's all in that deity. And it's not on Nrsimhadev's lap like a child on the lap of his mother. Hare Krishna. For those of you who don't know the story of Nrsimhadev, then he was ripping apart Hiranyakashipu. Hare Krishna. Praneshwari has put here in the chat box, Srila Bhaktisundara Govinda Maharaj from Golden Reflections, earlier days. The first Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā was started by myself under the guidance of Srila Guru Maharaj. And I believe this was 1948. So Gurudev joined in 1947. By 1948, he's arranging this Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. I mean, obviously under the guidance of Guru Maharaj, but from such a very beginning of coming to Guru Maharaj. I proposed to Srila Guru Maharaj that if we could start a Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, it would not be difficult to find people to participate. When going out on the collections and meeting the many villages, I would have the chance to encourage many people to join our Parikrama. At that time, only two other parties did Navadvīp Dhām Parikrama, Keshava Maharaj and the Mayapur Mat. Yes. And until today, we expect, but until all of our time there in India, before Gaura Purnima every year, then there are collection parties that go to the villages and yes, collecting some donation, but the principal collection was rice, dal and potatoes. And from that, you can understand that rice, dal, and potatoes make up a substantial part of the daily prasadam, the daily diet, prasadam diet in Navadvīp. But then naturally, you see, as Gurudev says, you see from those days, they're going village to village, and they're collecting and meeting the people. And they're also going the same villages, or maybe not 100% exactly the same, but the same areas, and they are meeting the same people year by year by year. And so it's a time for giving association. It's a time for giving savor, so that the people are participating in one way or another. And as Gurudev points out here, it's a time when they can invite and say, come, participate in Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. Gaura Jai Sabastani. Oh, Praneshwari, she's really looking after us with the quotes. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, in the company of loving devotees, we visit the places where our Sri Gaura Sundar performed pastimes. And as we hear the kirtan prescribed by him, our hearts dance with joy. You're making us homesick, Praneshwari. We're trying to make everyone happy with the Navadvīp Dhām Mahatmya, not homesick. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, can we invite Kumkum Didi to tell us one of her experiences in the parikramas?
We'd love to invite Kumkum Didi to tell her as many experiences of her parikrama. And Kumkum Didi is very practical. She understands, how to live in harmony with the environment. When she will come to India, she will bring her own little folding chair, small chair, but just sufficient so that she can sit comfortably and hear the Harikatha without difficulty, harmonizing with the environment. So Kumkum Didi, very much remembering you being there in Navadvīp, as well as having you with us here. Please, a few words or many words from you.
Dandavad, Maharaj, all the devotees. You're very correct in saying this is making us very homesick for that, but just counting the days until all of these online parikrams will soothe our hearts pretty much, because those are really, really wonderful. All of this online is one good silver lining to this terrible pandemic that, so many people have come forward to really give and give. So I believe the very first time that I went on parikram was the first year that I went to the Holy Dham. But it was like you in 1982, you went just after Gaur Purnima. I went in, I said 92, 82, right?
No, 82, you said.
Yeah, I went in 83, but also just after Gaur Purnima. And so someone gave us a quickie Parikramā. Just on a rickshaw, my husband and I just went to all of the places as if it were the whole party, but with a lot less kirtan. And within 2 days, and without all of the nice prasad and everything. But when I went fully was 2001, and definitely wish that I could do that every year, rest of my life. Then maybe something would begin to sink in and penetrate this hard heart, because it's so appealing. It's impossible not to be attracted to these pastimes. I went one other time in a real quickie way, but I think it was 2007. But to go fully was just the most wonderful. When I went in 83, I did have one very interesting thing that happened to me. And that was only my husband and I were there, plus the rickshawwala, but we were circumambulating the temple of Srila Saraswati Thakur in Mayapur. And those pavers outside, the large square marble pavers around his temple, are at a diagonal, and one was sticking up just a little bit. And by the will of the Lord, somehow I happened to just put my foot in such a way when I was walking quickly, and it just hit my foot in such a way that, I found out there's very little blood in the foot. I was so glad to find that I didn't commit that offense also, but it just tore back about a 1/4 inch thick piece of skin by this big triangle. And all I could think, and my husband agreed, was some really special mercy I got. First time I'd ever been to India, and had only been there for a couple of days, and I get just diving in, and the rickshawwala happened to have a piece of cloth, and we just tied it back on, and there was never any problem for it, nor did it hurt when it happened. But it was, so many unusual things may happen when you first go to India or anytime you're there, but very unusual for the pampered Westerner. But it really seemed like I was being brought in a very endearing way. That's not easy to explain. I don't tell that story very often.
Special vision of special mercy.
Yeah. Even the vision itself was mercy. It's like everything's fine. It was like you have the choice to see something as terrible if you listen to what your mind would say or whatever. But in actuality, it was not any problem at all. There was no pain. And I don't know, just seeing Srila Saraswati Thakur's beautiful temple there, it just really seemed like I was being brought in as close, closer than I deserved.
Jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
But all of those places are just so wonderful. The Lotus Pond at the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, just astounding. Every single place, so astounding. And the best thing, all of the Vaishnavas who are able to talk to us about them.
Right, we'd go somewhere and then everyone sits and then we hear some Hare Katha and everyone gratefully sits because, usually, actually it's a trick of Krishna, but usually the very first day of Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā is the first day of like the heat of the year. Before that, it's been a little chilly and a little like this, and then like springtime, spring air. But then Krishna, and this year is a little late also, Gaura Purnima. Then Krishna turns up the thermometer or the thermostat. He turns up the thermostat at the very beginning of the parikrama. So when we get to somewhere, devotees happily sit down with a hat or something on their head or try to be in the shade. And then we hear about these places. And actually Ashram Maharaj, he's a very good speaker and he walks every inch of the way. Normally, I've seen him take a rickshaw sometimes too, but he's a real soldier for tolerating the heat and the dust. Another part, when we're on the parikrama, it can be very dusty. Literally, you can see our parikrama. If we're looking for them, we can see them through the rice fields by looking, the cloud of dust coming up. And so they're walking through that dust with the cloth over there. Now everyone's got masks, right? So they got to wear it. You got to wear a mask. Yeah, we got our masks. But dusty and hot is common. And sometimes rains. Krishna also plays tricks. And not only plays tricks, but sometimes gives soothing to the devotees with a nice downpour of rain in the night. And then in the morning, everything like gentle, cool down, the dust is down. Krishna has different plans.
Yes.
And about feet, I don't know where it comes from or whether it's bona fide, as they would say. Is it bona fide or not? But I heard in the early days that if you get something with your feet, it is extra mercy. You're getting some extra karma relieved or something, because devotees did seem to get a lot of trouble with their feet. And I heard from senior devotees, oh yes, it is very good to get trouble with your feet. It is taking away karma. But perhaps they got trouble with their feet because they're walking barefoot. And we're not normally doing that. Anyway, if anybody has any scriptural evidence about the feet being a quick way to get rid of our karma, don't go around hammering your toes with a hammer just to get rid of your karma, please. There are other ways. The Maha Prayaschita given in the scripture. What's the Maha Prayaschita? The greatest way of cleansing ourselves? Harinama. Harinama. So the holy name is actually for everything, but the holy name in the right mood, of course. When we surrender to Krishna, not asking him for anything, still that is how we are meant to be chanting the holy name. We're not trying to get rid of karma as such. That's not our aim. Our aim is to come home. But at the same time, Krishna, okay, forget the past. But we have to forget the past and not dwell in the past and think about our achievements and how great we were before we were a devotee or this, that, and the other. And that song of Lochandas Thakur is saying that by the touch of you, I've forgotten all of my past, only looking towards your lotus feet. So we need to be like this. Yes, yes, Praneshri has a hand up. Rupa Vilasru also had his hand up a little while ago.
Oh, so he goes first. But then after, check the chat, because Chintamani was in 2009 and she was traveling the world alone and says that she found the Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā in 2009.
Okay, that maybe is in your chat box because it's not in my chat box. From Chintamani, I have, yay, we love hearing from Kumkumdiri. That's what I have in my chat box from Chintamani. We see your lips move, but
Yes, it was before that message. You had to go up a little bit.
Oh, so it is. Oh my goodness. Huh? Oh yes. I joined the movement officially in 2009 while traveling the world alone, and somehow I found the Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. Well, we have to say, that's definitely mercy. I was sitting at the gate of our temple, Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. There's a wall there. I used to sit on the wall, watched the world go by in the afternoon. And I was sitting on the wall in our compound, and a Westerner just came along the road, like slowly, and looking at the temple, looking at the gate, looking inside. And he'd got, some possessions with him, obviously, traveling. So I thought, a minute, there's me thinking, oh, are you looking for Chaitanya Saraswat Mat? Because it only says it in Bengali. It doesn't say in English, Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. So are you looking for us? And he said, no, actually, I'm trying to go to Calcutta. I'm a train spotter. And he went to see the miniature railway, which goes past, at that time, a miniature railway, went past Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house in Navadwīp, for those of you who are catching up with Navadwīp Dhām Parikramā. Our island is Kolladeep, and Navadwīp is where Bhaktivinoda Thakur stayed. And there was a miniature railway. So this person, he was a Westerner, but he was a train spotter, and he was coming to India, like to see all these rare trains. And anyway, he was trying to go to Calcutta, but he took the wrong bus. He crossed the bridge coming over the Ganges that we mentioned before. And then he was walking into the town. And so he's passing our temple. That's his first introduction to Krishna consciousness. He had no idea where he was or what he was doing. And so we kind of gave him a little introduction and maybe gave him a little prasada. But he went on his way. So this sounds, I wonder where he is now. But here we know where Chintamani is. Somehow I found Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. Jai. Hare Krishna.
And I'm
Rupa
trying
Vilas
to-
Prabhu, you had a hand up before. Something you wanted to contribute to us?
Yes, actually, this is just a question again. While trying to read the Sri Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, the book, Sri Navadvīp Dhām Mahatmya, I just noticed that there are now about 100 temples all around in West Bengal alone. Do you advise that we also have to see them on our own, or be guided by what it is there in the map?
Prabhu, my advice, Gurudev's advice is only go on pilgrimage with devotees and as seva, not to go separately. If you can be with devotees and go on pilgrimage, then of course this is very good, but it has to be guided so that it's not enjoyment, it is seva, and it is the association of the holy places with the holy pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. So another thing is this, actually, you see there are many temples there. You said maybe 100, it may be many temples, but when it wasn't Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā time, Gurudev did not give tick mark that devotees are going on a parikrama, island by island. Yes, when they come at other times of the year, to come and visit Mahaprabhu's and pilgrimage to Mahaprabhu's appearance place, to Srila Saraswati Thakur's principal temple, to one or two places like this, but not that we'll go and visit temple by temple. We'll do that in the company of the devotees, in the organized parikrama. Not a question of visiting and taking pictures. I've been there, like that. And in fact, Gurudev really disapproved when devotees were going to just see a temple, but approved when going specifically to Mahaprabhu's appearance place, and specifically if they're going with a devotee or with devotees, so that they make it an actual event to go. Hare Krishna. And Instead, we'll be in the temple and do seva. And Navadvīp temple, we always had seva. It grew. As the number of devotees grew, so the seva grew. So there was never a shortage of seva in Navadvīp. So Gurudev did not want that devotees will come, they'll think, oh, I'll stay in the mat and I'll go, like be a tourist like this. They'll come, stay in the mat, and why stay in the mat? Be a servitor in the mat. And actually, it is reading Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā this time that it sort of came quite strongly in my mind how Guru Maharaj established actually a hermitage with an open door for distributing what's inside it by the grace of Nityananda. But actually, Guru Maharaj in his earlier years was distributing Srila Saraswati Thakur's message. He was very active. He crisscrossed all over India as far as today, what's Pakistan, and on the other side, what's Bangladesh, and all the way to the south. Guru Maharaj was very active. But in his later years, he actually made a hermitage to be a place which is shielded from all other conceptions except Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's conception. This is how Chaitanya Saraswat Mat came to be. And so we are coming to the mat with that idea. And so as we see, once we will do, with devotees, we will do, but in an organized way, the parikrama to become acquainted with the Dham, but not that we'll then plan, oh, I'll go to India, I'll stay at the mat and I'll visit these places. We come to the mat to be a member of the mat, to be within that holy bubble of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev when we're there. And Gurudev pointed out to me, I hadn't even thought about it, but Gurudev pointed out to me that actually it was like 6 months at one time since I never went outside the gate of the mat. And Gurudev, in front of me, Gurudev telling another devotee, and then I'm thinking, what's Gurudev saying? Then I actually thought, Gurudev, he notices more than me that I've not been outside the mat. And we never felt that we are restricted by being in the mat. I have to say that. We never felt we wanted to be anywhere. Here's Radha Sundari on Indian time. Hare Krishna. Yes, Radha Sundari Devidasi, welcome. I have a little news for you. We're running on Californian time. And Paramananda, I've got some news for, I'll give you news to Paramananda too. I can see that part 2 can be coming up here. Yes, Paramananda Prabhu, Radha Sundari Devidasi. You both joined us in the last 30 seconds. Haribol, Haribol.
More residents of Gupta Govardhan Dham.
Okay, reveal yourself, the residents of Gupta Govardhan Dham.
Kanika Didi and Ananga Mahini Didi, very good servitors of Gupta Govardhan Dham.
Jai, and very happily seeing you in the morning program. Not always, but quite often. So both of you happily seeing you there. Jai.
Well, Maharaj, you will remember this morning during the program.
Well, I haven't been there yet, but actually I almost could join you. After Gaura Purnima, I can join your morning program again, because the clocks change.
You don't have to, Maharaj.
Anyhow, very good. But Paramananda and also to Radha Sundari Didi, who joined us just now, please note that we're running on Pacific time, means California time. And so actually we're just ending this week's Back to Basics and not just beginning it. So today is Thursday, also Sunday will be the same thing. And then Next Thursday will be the same thing. Will be 1 hour earlier.
Maharaj, 9 a.m., right? Thai time.
Oh, Thailand doesn't change clocks. Oh, but America changed clocks. All right.
No, Thailand doesn't.
Prabhu, I just don't ask me right now. It's a little difficult for me to do that
All right.
method.
It sounds like we're going to ask Praneshwari Didi. She knows.
Prabhu, whatever time it is now, now is 10 a.m. with you.
Okay,
So,
all
yes,
right.
it's
So
correct.
9 a.m., Maharaj. 9 a.m.
9
Thai
a.m.
time.
for the next two after this. And then
At 9.
Gaura Purnima. No, it will always be 9 a.m. your time from now onwards.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, we also change time on Gaura Purnima day. Yes, and where are you? The tea room.
Yes, that's the tea room, Maharaj.
Okay, very good. Paramanandru, we've been talking about Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā. We're all feeling very, very sad because we're homesick for Navadvīp. What are you going to do to cheer us up? The three of you, cheer us all up, make us happy.
Well, Maharaj, we were remembering Mahaprabhu this morning. It was a half Chinese, well, actually, it's the whole Chinese program, as you know.
Thursdays, yes.
And I was just sitting there and I was reading, but also Lilavati was putting it into Chinese, the translation of the shlokas from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then we're mentioning divine personalities such as Swarupa Damodar, Ramananda Rai, Murari Gupta. And then I asked Lilavati, can you chant their glories in Chinese? And she did very nicely. So while she was doing that, I was sitting and looking at Srila Gurudev. And I imagined, remember when the first ever Chinese devotees came, how happy he was and how he said that I saw everything, I traveled the world. Nothing surprises me but the Chinese people chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But I thought, and Gurudev is witnessing that, there is no doubt about it, how happy he is. Here's Lilavati, how happy is Srila Gurudev, seeing how they're not just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but also glorifying intimate associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a very sweet way. That is inconceivable. And we spoke about the glories of Mahaprabhu Leela and how it is always fresh, and we're always reading Chaitanya Charitamrita with the same Leela, but always coming to us in a different light. Never, you can never feel bored. Like certain books, you read one time, you put them on the shelf, you don't want to come back again. But Chaitanya Charitamrita, you want it. You're looking forward to that moment. So just like the news, like everybody is reading the news, used to be newspapers, now it's the internet news. So in a similar way, devotees waiting to see the news of the spiritual world by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is happening? What is Mahaprabhu doing? What are the devotees doing? What is the mood of the devotees? And even though we're not, I mean, I am not qualified to perceive that to full extent what is going on. It's inconceivable, never be possible. Still something is coming to us, and it's ever new, ever sweet, ever fresh. So Navadvīp Dhām Parikramā, Maharaj. Soon we're all going there. And now, where are we? We're in Vrindavan?
In Vrindavan, yes.
Govardhan?
Yes.
So
now we're in
Vrindavan.
Vrindavan. Govardhan finished and Varshana, Nandagram finished. Now we're in Vrindavan today.
And actually, we're also in Vrindavan. Giriraj is here. Anyone can say that we're not in Vrindavan when Giriraj is present? I don't think so. Everyone can agree with that. So we are in Vrindavan. And like the Vrindavan, if we have eyes to see, ears to hear, heart to feel. And a great opportunity.
All right, Paramanandru, you did a good job representing Kanika and Ananga. You've done a good job. I know they wanted to say this too.
Maharaj, you just look at their service. That's all they have to say. Some devotees, they don't talk. Like I can do a talking part. And like you said, there are different gradations of speakers. One of them is the featherless parrot. So I'm still on that stage. I'm still trying to acquire some feathers. You know, at least when you have some feathers, you know, the parrots are very colorful. They catch some attention. I haven't come to that stage yet, but these two devotees here, by their service, they're making that statement. They don't have to say much. They're just doing.
Hare Krishna. And they are doing, we are witness to that year by year. As the British say, we take our hat off to you.
Well, now they're very embarrassed, Maharaj. Now they just want to leave.
Hare Krishna. All right. Anyway, it is time to leave, unfortunately, because Lilavati Didi, we were just explaining that California, they changed their clocks by an hour. So for the next two back-to-back to basics, it'll be at 9 a.m. your time, not 10 a.m. your time.
And Maharaj, one more guest.
Oh, one more guest. Okay, very good, very good. Welcome.
Govinda, Govinda.
Bhakti Lalita Devi. Thursday is also Bhakti Lalita Devi's day, as well as the Chinese day. So I know more people tune in on Thursdays because of the highlights. Yes, Bhakti Lalita Devi.
We're just following your instructions, day in and day out, broadcasting and signing people up.
And Bhakti Lalita Didi spoke beautifully about the glories of Gurudev's mother this morning, Maharaj.
All right, it's her disappearance day today on this side of the world. Bhakti Tarangini Devi Dasi, Sri Yukta Tarangini Devi Dasi, Gurudev's mother. So Bhakti Lalita, you have the microphone, but just for a couple of minutes, because actually we run over the top. So just a brief glorification.
Yes, we just, all those years living in the Mach, she was there, and such a affectionate figure to all the devotees, and an example of caring and remembrance. She remembered everybody, whoever came to meet her, and she'd cry when they would leave and feed everybody, and like a grandmother, Thakur Ma, to all the devotees. And we remembered how Gurudev was supporting her and his two brothers when his father left the world, and then got the association of the devotees in Narangat. And Gurudev went with them to meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj and stayed ever since. And that was a difficulty for Tarangini Thakur Ma, because she was alone with her sons and having to maintain the family. And Gurudev was the oldest one who was responsible for the family. So that big fight was going on, tried to bring Gurudev home, and all the villagers came, tried to drag Gurudev back to Bamankara. And we heard Gurudev tell, at one point he was holding on the bars of a window, and all the villagers were pulling his legs, trying to get him to go with them back to Narangat. And then one wise man in the group said, this is not going to work. By force, we cannot take him. Then some negotiation necessary. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj spoke to the villagers and offered to give shelter to Tarangini and her two other sons at the Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So that solved everything. And as a young widow with 3 boys, Thakur Ma came to the Math and took shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. They all took initiation and stayed in the Math ever since. we know Vishwarup and Dhananjaya Prabhu later married and had their own families, but they all received the great fortune of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's shelter and blessings, and were mock servitors and expert mridanga players and singers and cooks and and we remember Thakur Ma having so much love for everybody, and we remembered also the day she disappeared, which is, I don't know what year it was, how many years ago that was. Maybe a little later, a few years before Gurudev disappeared. Gurudev said she chose a time where it was convenient for her to leave. She didn't want to disrupt Gaur Purnima. And you can see here we are now, it's like a week before the festivities. And she was fully conscious and just withdrew, didn't talk to anybody, stopped eating, and just grabbed her japamala and was holding it in the air and chanting till her last moments. So what a life, how auspicious and how dear she is to all of us. So we're very fortunate that blessing and that mercy we had from these Vaishnavas, it's forever. It's not just, a magic moment, but their mercy stays with us forever. I'm just seeing who's here. Oh, Radha Sundari, Kum, Rupa Vilas, Dandavat. So nice to see you.
Deva Rupa, this is South Africa.
Yeah.
Praneshwari, who's looking after us all, Mahamantra's mum.
Yes.
And Varun, Indian bodied, but living in America, right?
Yes, Ohio.
Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ohio is, but Bhakti Lalita, she's from America, so she probably knows. And Radha Sundari, just near you in Mayapur, is there.
Okay.
And Jivana Devi Dasi is there quietly.
Oh, there's Jivana,
Yeah.
And she's being very quiet today, Jivana Didi. I hope you're okay.
She's probably multitasking.
And Leelavati, your Leelavati there in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, she's cooking lunch at the moment.
Uh-huh.
Letting you see, she's giving you a view of the tea house.
And we see the tea house and the bamboo and the trees looking very nice. All right.
So I'll let you go, and thanks for your service, Maharaj, keeping everyone connected and inspired. Praneshwari Didi.
This is Praneshwari is doing this service.
Yeah.
She's
doing a great job connecting everyone all over the world. Thank you, Jai Gurudev, Jai Srimati Tarangini Devi Dasi ki Jai.
All right, it is Jai time. So I'll leave the Jais to Paramananda Prabhu. Paramananda Prabhu, you can give Jais as we conclude our Jai.
Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Bhakti Prakash Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Satchidananda Bhakti Thakur ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvavan Srila Jagannath Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari
Hari Bol. And to all of the devotees who are present and who will see us later and who are on Facebook. I didn't put the Facebook on today. I don't see who's there. But to all of you who are with us today, our obeisances to you and to each other. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavan.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki
Hare
Jai.
Dandavat, Dandavat.